Hey guys, so my hair was looking kind of rough. My sides are growing out, the color is fading, my roots are growing out. So I decided it was time to dye it. My ideal goal was sort of like a light lilac-y silver color, but realistically that never usually happens. I can never get my hair light enough for it to actually take, so I was just kind of sort of bleach it and see how it goes. So right now I'm just getting rid of the rest of my hair, getting it out of the way so that I can fix my side. Now, normally I like to keep my side shaves like slightly on the longer side. I don't want it to be like super buzz cut, but my old razor just broke, so I'm using this one right here, which this is the longest guard that it has, which is still pretty short. Like normally I wouldn't go quite this short, but I don't really have a choice until I can get my hands on a new razor. So this is just what we're working with for now. I'm trying my best to stay in focus while actually seeing what I'm doing in the mirror, which is tricky. Especially trying to see the back, because I have a mirror that folds out, but I kept whacking my camera with it, which was kind of an issue. I'm also using my freehand to help protect the edges of my hair that I don't want to accidentally hit with the clippers. So then I'm taking the guard off the clippers so I can do the edges of my hair. I mean, men do their edges. I want to fix mine. I mean, I don't really want sideburns or a hairy neck, so I always just do this part also. And then super important is to put the guard back on before you move on to the other side of your hair, or you'll end up bald on one side. That's not good. I shaved the other side off camera. It's exactly the same thing that I did with the first. Then I'm using this high lift bleach kit that I got from Walgreens. Normally I use stuff from Sally's, but they had this kit there. It's like $5. I didn't know till I opened it later that it actually says it's 40 volume bleach, which is terrible for your hair. I normally wouldn't recommend it, but this one has actually ended up not being super damaging for some reason. Still, I would use a weaker volume probably if you don't want to absolutely kill your hair or risk killing your hair. But hey, it worked out okay. I'm just using a brush to try to apply it only to my roots and try my best to keep it off of the rest of my hair. I just skipped ahead here. I just continued doing all of my roots, and now I'm gonna do the sides. The rest of my hair is already pretty light, so I don't need that strong of a bleach on it or to leave it on for that long. So we're just gonna save that part for later. My roots and sides are all done, looking lovely. So now I'm going to do a bleach bath for the rest of my hair. So basically you just want to add shampoo to your bleach, which is going to make it weaker and less damaging to your hair. I'm just spraying my hair with water right now because it really works better if you apply it to wet hair. I'm trying not to like wet my roots because I already have bleach there. I'm trying to just kind of spray the ends down to get them damp, and then putting this shampoo bleach mixture on. I think the standard recipe for like a bleach bath is basically like half shampoo to half bleach. And then I'm putting a cap over all of it. The kit didn't come with one, but I had my own from Sally's. I basically always use a cap. This is what it looked like when it was still wet. It's pretty yellow and orangey in places, so it's not quite as light as I would have hoped, but it's kind of what I expected. That's what it looked like dry. You can still tell it's quite brassy and yellow, and there's a bit of like orange undertones still left. So what I'm going to do is tone it. I'm using Wella T18 and 20 volume developer. You just follow the instructions, which is 1 part toner to 2 parts developer. And you want to apply it to towel dried hair, but my hair was already dry because I was doing this like the next day. So I'm just respraying it with water and then half-ass drying it on this towel that I didn't bother to even take off the rack. I'm just trying to make it evenly damp all over so that it applies better, and that's just what the instructions say to do, is you're supposed to have damp hair. So I'm brushing it out the tangles too and trying to kind of section it off. so I can start applying it in the back, which is what I should have done with the bleach, really, because the back is usually where it's darkest, but I didn't do that. Probably would have helped if I had, but now, you know, we're doing it. So, in hindsight, my hair was not really nearly light enough for this toner to be effective. I was just kind of being hopeful that it would still work, but I should not have. If I could redo it, I probably would have just got like a super light blonde hair dye from the store and just applied that instead. It really kind of helps to like lighten it more than just the toner. I've done it before and it's actually pretty effective if you get like a super light ashy blonde color and just kind of put it over. It kind of just helps to even it out and make it lighter. This toner is really just meant for if you have like almost white hair to begin with. So I even used a purple conditioner in the shower, and this is still how it came out. So you can see it's still pretty yellow, it's pretty brassy, there's weird peachy parts to it. I was going to use these hair dyes I was holding up, but I don't think that they're actually going to show up, so I'm going to have to go with a darker color. And what in the actual hell is my audio doing right now? It is just having all sorts of issues. It's not lining up with like the clips, and it's like repeating itself for no reason on its own. Just having all sorts of technical difficulties. In any case, so right now we're doing an impromptu haircut. So I'm basically just trimming off some of the dead ends and stuff. My hair wasn't in that bad a shape, but I still just kind of wanted to trim off some of the garbage. Normally I never cut my hair when it's wet because it's a lot easier to do when it's dry because you can actually see how your hair falls and you can tell what you're doing better. But in this case it's just a trim, so I didn't really care. While I'm doing that, I was just going to say I'm not like a professional hairdresser or anything, so this isn't exactly a tutorial and you probably shouldn't listen to me. I've just been doing my own hair for like over 15 years and sometimes it's fine, so this audio is actually driving me insane. I don't know what's going on. When I try to play it back, it just sort of plays whatever. Sometimes it's the wrong clip, sometimes it's silent. It's making it very hard to try and edit anything. So, maybe we'll just try and do like one take and you can just ignore like the weird pauses or silences or rambling. I don't really know how else to get through this. I've actually got a new computer and everything. This is the last video I will be recording on this one, which has been having all sorts of problems. Hopefully then I won't have so many issues after that, but for now we're just gonna run with this, I guess, because I don't know how else I'm gonna get through this. So I'm just still continuing to trim all the ends off, which will really end up being kind of totally pointless, which you'll see later because I end up changing my hair. But we'll get to that at like the end of this video. So I just am basically kind of hacking off random pieces of the ends. I'm not really worried about it being perfect. I'm going through with like the thinning shears to make some sort of layers so I don't have like jagged cuts on the ends. That really helps a lot if you can get a pair of those, so that you don't just end up with blunt stuff. So even if you don't particularly know what you're doing very well, it will help like make it look nicer so you don't have just weird blunt pieces everywhere. I was apparently mixing my hair dye right now, which is not what was happening on my screen, but okay. So I just mixed like a light purple and some silverish gray and added conditioner to it to make it lighter because the purple was a lot darker than I thought. So I'm just applying that everywhere basically. I'm using a combination of like the brush and my hands to just smush it through because I find that the brush just really it takes forever. It's easier to get the roots that way, but it's just easier to like get the ends with your hands. So now I was doing my bangs. Maybe that's what I'm seeing. I don't know what's actually happening. This is such a mess. I apologize. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish dyeing the purple, which is still probably a little bit light. I mean, it definitely is. You can tell later that I should have probably made it a little bit darker to cover some of the colors. And the reason like my hair is so not light enough is because before this I had red tones underneath. I had like a reddish orange or pink underneath, and it just really won't come out no matter what I do. And I can't just keep bleaching my hair or I will like lose my hair. So that's why it's just being stubborn. You really need a almost white base if you want to do a super light purple and actually have it take. So I'm mixing it now like a trying to make like a hot pink or like a fuchsia because I want to do a small part of my hair that color. Um so I eventually kind of get the right color, and I'm trying to make it like dark enough so that it will be a contrast to what's already in there. So I just want to do the tips with that, and my tails. I always have weird tails going on in the front, sometimes in the back. I don't know why. I'm just a fan of having weird piecey tails sticking out. So it's just a thing. So I'm doing this. I kind of like having like a different color around the front. It helps like frame your face if you can pick a color that's like stands out. So that's basically the thought process of this. Um, Sorry for my umming and my pauses. And I'm really just trying to get through this audio. I don't really know what else to be talking about. How's your day going? Hope it's going well. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna do the sides now, which I also should have toned more. They're very yellow, and I really wish they were like a whiter, but that's fine. We're just gonna run with it. So I'm mixing up the dye to do that because I'm going to do a pattern on them. I've done it before. I don't know. I like it, I guess, sort of. I get compliments on it. Um, You'll see what I'm doing in a minute, which apparently I'm bringing back like the early 2000s a bit, but that's fine. It's fine, you know. Um, I've done a lot of weird things. I've tried to shave like patterns into the sides of my head. One time I accidentally shaved like a penis shape into the side of my head, which was lovely. That was great. That's not what I wanted to do at all. But sometimes that happens, you know. Sometimes you get accidental penises shaved into the side of your head, I guess. So right now we're sticking with dye, and I've given up trying to shave designs in because it's harder to screw up and easier to change when it goes wrong. So right now I'm using a Q-tip because that's the easiest way to make polka dots, really, or a lot of patterns. I mean, you really want to mush it in there too. You want to like saturate it fully and make sure you're smushing it into your hair, because if you just like apply it to the top lightly, it won't really take. So you want to kind of smush it in there good. So I'm just doing like a turquoise mixed with blue for these, because I found that if you just use a straight turquoise, it ends up being kind of green, especially because my base is already kind of yellow, and I really didn't want to end up with green. I wanted like a turquoise bluish, I guess. So that's what we're doing here. Now I'm moving on to the pink, which originally was too light. I could tell it wasn't going to take, so I ended up adding some darker pink to it to make sure it would stand out more, because once you wash it out, like, you know, it's going to always be lighter than what you have in there. So we're just doing more polka dots essentially. I'm just sort of placing them randomly, trying to like space them kind of evenly, leaving a little bit of room in between them. Um, so yeah, sorry. Um, and I'm still trying to kind of stay in frame while also seeing what the heck I'm doing. It's hard to see the sides of your head and the back particularly. Um, you know, I never really care that much, especially when I'm cutting my hair. Like, for example, one time I was in the middle of cutting my hair and the power went out and I just kept cutting it. Like, I didn't need light. It's fine. I mean, I was just like doing a short choppy haircut. So I just grabbed pieces and, you know, chop them off. Like, you don't need to see. Seeing is overrated. It's fine. So now I have a black semi-permanent dye that I'm using to do the outside. So clearly I'm doing like cheetah spots, but with colors inside. Yeah, so hopefully what you're seeing on your screen is the final product. You can see my roots are still super yellow, and that's really going to bother me, which is part of the reason I'm going to end up changing my hair soon. Um, but yeah, it turned out okay. I mean, sort of. There's a lot of like, besides the roots, there's other like yellow brassy streaks that you can kind of see in there. So, you know, it's not perfect, but there's a before, hopefully, and after. Thank you for watching. Sorry this was a complete disaster. Hopefully the next one will be better.